working moms.
Hey, working dads.
Hey, aspiring working parents.
And allies of working parents.
Are you in search of your pillow?
Does it take you 24 hours just to get out the door in the morning?
Are you the family ATM?
Or the family Uber driver?
Are you on a Zoom call for work while carpooling while also watching a practice?
If so, welcome to our world, the Parents at Work podcast.
I'm Lori.
I'm Jason.
We are married.
And we have two wild and crazy redheaded boys.
We're here to shine a light on the roller coaster ride that is working parenthood. I'm a healthcare lawyer and founder of a working parent community called Mindful Return.
And I'm an executive coach with Ready, Set, Launch, LLC. I wrote a cool book called Relationships to Infinity.
And I wrote a cool book called Back to Work After Baby. Welcome back, everyone, to the Parents at Work podcast. Jason and I are so excited today. Hi,
Very
Jason.
excited.
Yes.
Hi, Lori. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Have an incredibly special guest on with us today, Julie Talbot. Julie, welcome. We're so happy that you're here.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Jason. So glad to be with you.
Julie is the Chief Executive Officer, aka CEO, at Lansinoh Laboratories. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, but the first thing I need to say is thank goodness for Lansinoh, because my nipples thanked you a lot during the breastfeeding years with our two boys. So, I mean, let me just start with Lansinoh's nipple cream and the breast pads were like staples in our house. And the little purple tubes were like everywhere in every room. Anyway, if you hadn't heard of Lansinoh Laboratories, they are a leading global maternal and infant care brand supporting families across more than 70 countries. That is a lot of the world, Julie, with evidence-based products spanning pregnancy, birth, breastfeeding, and infant feeding. Julie brings over 20 years of experience building and scaling consumer brands across personal care, beauty, and wellness. And before coming to Lansinoh, or rather before this current role at Lansinoh, she served as the president of Lansinoh North America. So she's been evolving in her Lansinoh journey, where she advanced Lansinoh's strategic focus, increased investment in marketing and digital engagement, and strengthened the company's connection with a new generation of parents, because parents are always evolving as well. Her prior experience includes leadership roles at Blue Mercury, The Honest Company, Mars, Burt's Bees, and Godiva Chocolate. I can imagine that was a delicious place to work. Julie earned her undergrad degree from Virginia Tech and an MBA from Rutgers, and she's passionate about mentoring and developing the next generation of leaders, many of whom, I'm sure, are working parents. Julie lives in Northern Virginia, so not all that far from where Jason and I are in DC, and she lives with her daughter, who keeps her humble in ways only a 4-year-old can. I'm looking forward to learning about those ways, and is her why in everything she does. Julie, we're so happy to have you here. Thanks for doing
I'm
this.
so happy to be here. Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, so let's kick off as we do on this podcast. Julie, can you just tell us your working parent story in brief?
Yeah, in brief, I had my daughter in July 2021. I hadn't shared it with anybody previously before joining Lansinoh, but she was actually an IVF baby, so a COVID pandemic IVF baby. So I had quite a maternal journey of my own, which is, I think, part of what makes me so empathetic to our consumers, our moms, and just being able to really approach this from a different perspective. But she was born in the summer of 2021. And, becoming her mom just changed the way I saw almost everything, my time, my energy, my priorities, and what support really means. So she's why this work is so personal to me. And I truly know what those early days can feel like, how beautiful they are, but also how exhausting and uncertain they can be. I think it made me much more aware that parents don't need everything to be perfect. We ourselves don't need to be perfect. We need practical help and empathy and support to make those days feel more manageable. So I really just try to bring that perspective to Lansinoh, and we're supporting parents during one of the most important transitions of their lives. And I feel a true responsibility to make sure we stay close to what moms and families really need.
Yeah, pandemic, COVID, IVF, that's a lot there.
Wow.
I could imagine it might be a time of feeling isolated. Is that something that was your experience? And did you find ways of somehow connecting with other people who were going through a similar experience at that time. I mean, we were stuck at home with third and fifth graders, and it was a freaking nightmare. And we built a trampoline on the back deck. I mean, we were desperate. And it's a totally different experience, I think, to become a parent in that time. So I'm just curious if you can offer any reflections. I'm sure we have people listening who also have 3 to 6 year olds who are sort of in that same uh, arrival at parenthood stage.
Yeah, I think what's so fascinating about that time period is, we were all in different chapters, right? So having a newborn or being pregnant was this unique experience. Having a child in kindergarten, first grade, fifth grade, like they all came with such a different host of challenges. So I think it was very isolating. And I think you see a lot of that reflected in the work that I'm getting the team to do. So it's very important to me that Lansinoh is this community for
Mm,
moms. We often say to each other, it takes a village to raise a child, but not everyone has a village. Not everyone has a network where they live, that support system, that structure. And especially during the pandemic, I certainly didn't feel like I had a support system or structure. I remember being on video, like on my phone with lactation consultants trying to figure out how to breastfeed or use this newfangled pump. Like, I mean, I think, I think like it was a different experience than some moms have. And I mean, I was fortunate to have the resources to even be able to reach out to a lactation consultant, but not all moms might have that. And so one of the things that we do here at Lansinoh is we moved our customer service team in-house. And so if you call Lansinoh now, you're going to talk to a mom or a
mm.
certified lactation consultant. They can stay on the phone with you for 2 hours, 3 hours, as long as it takes. If they're the only adult you talk to all day, perfect. Like, we are there for you, and we have no call center metrics. Like, it really is about how do we be this village, and community for our moms who need us. There's a lot of talk about that birth journey, the fertility journey, and then it's like you focus on having the baby, and it's like, "Oh gosh, I have to feed this thing." So really being there to like help answer questions and support moms during that chapter
A-
too.
And who can get access to that amazing resource? Is it like anyone who buys your products can just call?
Anyone. And honestly, if they buy another product and need our help, we're there for them too. Like if you buy
Wow,
a different pump, you can call us. Like we
that's
will help
amazing.
moms. I mean, it really is just about being there for new parents, new families, whatever that looks like for you, like we'll be there for you.
Amazing. Amazing. So, how would you describe what it's like to be a mom who is a CEO of a consumer packaged good company? And I'll just add like one in particular that innovates, markets, and sells the type of product that you probably were like the target audience for at some point. So, yeah, how do you describe what it's like to be parent and CEO in this space?
Well, like you, Lori, I too turned to Lansinoh products for support during that time. So it was an easy adjustment for me to come into Lansinoh. I was so familiar with the
Mm,
portfolio, having used them myself. And it, I remember feeling like I had no idea what I was doing. So it was just nice to rely on expertly designed products that were high quality. I was like, you do the work because I'm just trying to survive. So when I joined, my daughter was only 2, so it was this like real
mm,
full circle moment. I was coming in not only as a business leader, but someone who had recently been on this journey trying to find support. So I think that perspective just really shapes how I lead. That we always want to be innovating in new areas that can help that mom enjoy this chapter a little bit more. The other thing I feel like we always say to each other is like, you'll have all these challenges. I mean, like the baby's colic or, just won't latch or whatever it is. And you're like, don't worry, it's just a chapter. You'll get through it. Like the next chapter will be easier. And I just found myself, like, wishing away
mm,
chapter after chapter, and I
Mm.
was like, "Well, she's gonna be my only daughter." Like, I went on this huge, fertility journey to have her. It's like, I don't wanna wish these chapters away. I wanna be able to enjoy them. I wanna, remember them and savor them, and so that's what I want, and that's what the team really works towards in terms of delivering the best innovation for moms is if our products can, soothe her or make this a little bit easier for her or for baby, and she can enjoy this chapter a little bit more, we'll have succeeded. And that's for me really what it is about.
mm. Yeah. I love that you've lived it clearly and it's not a foreign concept. and that the company is being led by someone with that deep experience really is inspiring. Jason, over to you.
I love how you have really leaned into the support and the care that someone, a mom at that moment in time needs. And it's obvious you're excited about so many things about Lansinoh, but I'm curious, is it in this particular moment in time, like what gets you up every day? What are you most excited about in being at Lansinoh right now?
I think I'm most excited about just evolving with moms. So Lansinoh is really entering a new chapter now. Lansinoh's been around for over 40 years. We were founded by a mom herself who was looking for a solution to help make breastfeeding more comfortable, easier. So for me, historically, Lansinoh has really been this breastfeeding brand and known as a breastfeeding brand. And that legacy is super important. But motherhood is not a one size fits all, and feeding is not one size fits all. So today we're really evolving into a more inclusive mom and baby brand that supports new moms, whether they breastfeed, bottle feed, combination feed, while keeping the trust and care that's just always defined Lansinoh. So that opportunity to make the brand more human again, more connected to mom's real experience makes this just a really exciting time for me. And it's like I think you'll find in everything I do and how I lead and how I interact with the team, it's just like it all comes from a place of personal experience and, you know, empathy, I would say, because, every mom's journey is different. They all look different. Every family is different. So, how do we show up? How do we take that feedback and really be this all-inclusive, welcoming brand? And I think that's what we're trying to do with the consumer care and the innovation we're launching to really support families.
That's
Mm.
wonderful. That's really wonderful.
Yeah. I was just going to ask one sort of follow-up question on that, which is, I mean, I am one of my highest held values is inclusivity and the ability to make sure that we're, representing all of the different needs and struggles. I'm just curious whether there are any specific examples of things that we over here on the consumer side can be looking for in Lansinoh world to sort of witness that inclusive expansion that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think for us it really is about, you saw us always focused on breastfeeding before. So
Hmm.
there wasn't a lot of talk or innovation in any sort of bottle feeding
Mm.
or if you're feeding formula space. It was like either breastfeed, pump, and then feed the baby,
You're
breast
like
milk.
other brands, other tools.
So
Yes.
now we're really looking at, how do you, the I think it's the statistic is 85% of moms combo feed.
Hmm.
We need to be where mom is, right? Like, even if you look at just the policies we have here in the US, moms go back to work very early in their journey compared to around the globe. And so how do we support mom on that journey to be able to, get back to the workplace if she wants to, needs to, on her feeding journey, and I feel like so often moms feel like they can't go back to work when they want to or need to because they're breastfeeding or pumping and don't have the same sort of, ability to get right back into it. So I think you're going to see
Hmm.
more from us in terms of making that feeding journey easier, no matter what it looks like. We'll
Mm.
still continue to innovate, of course, in the breastfeeding support category, and also we'll have, we're launching so many different breast pumps to stay really competitive and to give moms, you can get a hospital grade traditional breast pump, or you can get a wearable pump that would be really
Mhm.
convenient for your when you're on your Zoom calls and multitasking, and just giving moms different sorts of solutions, no matter what their life looks like,
Mhm.
particularly in that getting back to work phase of life.
Amazing. Yeah, I had dinner not that long ago with an alum of the Mindful Return program that I run, and she wore the wearable breast pump while we had dinner. And then she just went to the
See?
bathroom and emptied it out, and I was like, "Wow, this is next level. I love it."
It's like it's come such a far way, like, in such a short amount of time, but it's
Yes.
amazing that moms now
Yeah.
have those solutions, right? Versus being
Mhm.
tethered to your double electric breast pump.
In all sorts of awkward places.
Yeah, with
Um,
that loud noise.
ba-bum, ba-bum, yes.
Well, and
Um,
we'll have to
yeah.
make sure that your blog post on the places you've pumped, make sure
Oh, yeah,
to
we
put
can
it
include
into the
that
show
in
notes.
here. Yes.
So, yes.
Um I don't know if you're familiar with Corinne Botz's work, Julie, but she made this beautiful coffee. She's a photographer. She made this beautiful coffee table book called Milk Factory, and she also did a 10-minute
Yes.
documentary about um, the pumping experience in the House of Representatives, and it was spot on. And it
Very
starts
good.
with the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh in the documentary. That sound is epic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Universal. We all know it.
Yes. Okay, so let's stay in that that parental leave phase and that conversation. Um you said that you were 2 when you came to Lansinoh, so you were not at Lansinoh when you had your daughter.
That's right.
What benefits or support or help did your employer at the time give you when you became a parent?
I had just the standard FMLA, which I mean, I was, I had 12 weeks, which I was excited to be able to have. I mean, I of course would have loved to have more, but
Mhm.
I know so many moms who've had 3 weeks, 4 weeks, just such a short window of time before, they're sending their
Mhm.
essentially newborn to daycare. So I was very happy and grateful to have the 12 weeks. But think even just in those 2 years of time and now being at Lansinoh, that's evolved so much. And, moms are allowed to take, and dads too. I mean, I love
Mhm.
the parental leave that we also support at Lansinoh, for both mom and dad to be able to spend that special time, that chapter, at home together as a family.
Mhm.
So, um, I'm so proud of what we do at Lansinoh. We really do prioritize the caregiver friendly policies and flexibility and just a culture where empathy leads. We
Mhm.
exist to support moms and families, so we need to lead with that same care inside the company. And I always say, I never want people on our team to feel like they have to choose between being a great leader or a great parent. There's no reason that we can't do both. And at 3 p.m. today, you'll see me running out the door to go pick up my daughter at school, and I'll be back on later. But it's really special that I don't have to trade off these
Mhm.
fleeting moments for my career. And I would never ask anyone to do that either.
Yeah, and to see the CEO model that and say it publicly on a podcast is, I mean, to me, that's the definition of leadership. So thank you for showing up in that way, Julie. Yeah. Is your own personal experience with parental leave shaping how you're thinking about any changes or maybe review of the policies that are provided right now at Lansinoh?
Yeah, I mean, the Lansinoh policy is fantastic. So, like you said, I was
Mm.
at a different company at the time, and
Mhm.
we give really significant, benefits. I love that we even support moms who want to get a doula or midwife
Mm.
after the baby, or the doula after the baby's born, and of course midwives during. But like it's these other opportunities to infuse other support are really
Mhm.
important too. So it's not just about
Just the
have
number
your
of
baby.
weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
obviously, like any mom or dad at Lansinoh is gonna go home with the full line of products
Hooray,
to
yes.
support this journey. So, obviously we do an amazing job, internally to support our moms and dads, which is so important.
That's awesome. Yep. Okay, over to you, Jason.
Well, we've talked about so much of your journey as a leader, as a CEO, as a mom. I want us to take us back to an earlier version of Julie. And before we went on this recording, Julie and I found out we're both from the great state of New Jersey and from Morris County. Whoop, whoop, go New Jersey. So before you went to Virginia Tech, Julie, tell us a little bit about your first job. What were you doing? What got you into it? Like if we had met you in middle school or high school, what was your first summer job or what was your first job?
Oh my gosh, I love this question. So, I'm from Chester, New Jersey, went to school at high school Mendham. I worked at, this is actually going to date me, and it's very funny. I worked at a camera store in the little like strip mall in Mendham, New Jersey, where we developed photographs because, back
Mm,
Wow.
then there was film and cameras and we had this
yeah.
little disposable. So, yeah, I worked, of course, retail service. I also then spent some time working at Nordstrom, who back then was like known for the quintessential customer service. And it's funny, like, I think you can say, starting out in retail and understanding the consumer and just that service nature and customer service first, that model, I think it's like so core to even the things you're hearing me talk about now with what we've done with our customer service model and, always putting the consumer first. It's just so core to, how I grew up in my brand and marketing and general management career. Everything you do is for the consumer you serve, right? At the end of the day, that's all that matters. So all decisions need to lead back to that. So
I think that's fantastic. So in the camera store, were you actually developing the film? Did you know, or did
I was helping the consumers to intake their film, help them pick out frames, advise them on. I was also very artistic. I did a lot of painting and
Mm.
art back in those days. So photography was, I loved photography. I loved kind of the moment where people, and back because back then you had no idea what these pictures would look like, right? You shoot a roll of film and it was like that moment of surprise. So people would come in to pick up their film like an hour, a couple hours later, and they would just stand there and open them up, like all excited to see like how did these turn out. And there were a lot of special moments, right, to be able to engage with the consumers and also just developing those relationships. I mean, I knew most people's names who came through the door, and that was like just a different
so you
time.
had,
But
so you had your photo regulars, so you knew
yes,
like
yeah, oh
certain people
yes,
that would come in and what they were
yes,
looking for, and so
yeah.
your frequent flyers.
And the ones who, of course, always had, like, their thumb or something in every picture, and, you open them up, and they're like, "Oh, no, not again." But
I
yeah.
haven't thought about that moment of joy in a long time
Yeah,
that
like the
happened when
opening
you
up.
got to
Remember that?
the photo
Yeah.
place and you open it up and then voila, your like vacation from even like a month or two ago just came back to you before
Yes.
your eyes. And
Oh,
thank you for
it's the
bringing that
best.
back, Julie. That
Y-
was awesome.
You
Yeah.
know, and Julie, it's funny because I used to love to look at the negatives. I would put it up to
Mm.
the
Yes.
light and
Ah,
just to be able to look at the reflection. I thought it was so fascinating.
yeah.
So,
Think of the
what a
generations who will never even know what a negative looks like, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like, that's such a weird thing to probably a lot of people right now.
we
Hmm.
should, Lori, we should show that to our boys.
We
We're
really
gonna pop some
should.
old photos and
Yeah.
show the actual negative.
I
I
feel like the
love it.
other day we were explaining what a video store was to them. We're like, oh,
Oh, yeah, like a
what does it?
Yeah,
Blockbuster.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Well, so clearly a lot of learnings early on in high school to now. Um, when you think of the learnings that you've had through parenthood, what do you think has been the most useful thing you've learned in becoming a parent, either in your work at Lansinoh or as a CEO? What have you learned about yourself and how you've applied it in your career?
I think it's this like grouping of three words that I always go back to. It's humility, empathy, and patience. And I feel
Mm.
like there's a lot of overlap in those words, but like nothing humbles you more than a 4-year old. I think she humbles me just about every day. Um, I brought her. It's funny. I brought her into the office a few weeks ago. And I think she asked somebody like, where's mommy's boss? And somebody said, "Mommy is the boss." And she said, "No, no, 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 no." I mean, she literally was just like, "No, no, 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 like for real, where's mommy's boss?" Because like mommy is not the boss, I'm the boss. And she told people that she was the boss. So I mean, I think it was fun for people to see, that side of my life too, right? Because yeah, I am not her boss, per her. So I learn a lot from her, right? Like I learn a lot of patience and just obviously like so much empathy. It's like starting a new job. You go from knowing everything to starting over and knowing nothing. And I feel like that's how parenthood is. Like every year, every new like milestone or development chapter, it's like you have to learn and adapt.
Yeah,
And that's why I think like parents make such great employees because it's like you've got this whole other track of learning that you've had, emotional intelligence and learning. And if you can survive parenthood, like, I mean, you should be able to figure out the day to day at work thing pretty easily.
Mhm.
So, yeah, humility, empathy, and patience are my core things I've learned from her so far.
those are good things to live by. That's for sure. That's-
Indeed. I was curious whether there have been big shifts in your day to day in transitioning from North America head to CEO of Lansinoh? And does that sort of affect the work life juggle at all?
Oh, that's a great question. And yes, I think the biggest thing is, which I actually love, I should preface first, so don't people react and are like, oh, but like I get up a lot of days at like 4 a.m. and I do really early morning calls. So some days I start calls at like 4:30 or 5 a.m. and I'll do a few calls and then I'll wake her up at like 6:45. So I've gotten a lot of like work in before she even starts so I can really be fully present when I'm waking her up and we have breakfast, we go to school, and then I get right back into being fully present again. And, I really have been able to find the flexibility to enjoy these moments, to be able to have drop off at school and pick up from school
Mm,
and just be able to have that flexibility and balance, which I owe completely to Lansinoh and the team and just, the ability for us to have that freedom. So yeah, that's the biggest thing is having the global remit is, I'm on calls with Japan and Europe quite a bit early mornings. So I love it, but I love it. I love the balance.
yeah. Is there more travel involved too as a
A
result?
little bit, a little bit more travel, but I mean, I'm the type of person too. I know a lot of parents are in this phase where you'll do anything it takes to like get back in time for bedtime or like not miss like the
Uh-huh.
morning. So a lot of like miserable flights is what I would say for that, right? Like instead of doing the, overnight after, a long day of meetings and
Hmm.
so that you can be there to wake them up in the morning. And so I think that's but I'll always pick that, right? I'll always pick that for one more morning or one more bedtime. So that's the biggest thing. But always feel super blessed to be able to experience different cultures, different countries. And so I always bring her back a little thing so I can kind of try to immerse her in the experiences I'm having
Mm,
too.
hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
It,
awesome. I go ahead.
I was just thinking about a podcast episode we had recently where we were talking to two members of the leadership team at a mattress company called Reverie, and they are husband and wife, and also run the company. And the dad at one point decided that his child was old enough to take them on a trip to China to see the manufacturing plant. And so I'm just thinking
So
ahead, Julie,
cool.
for you, like when she's a few years older and the timing works out, what amazing opportunities for her too, to be able to go with you perhaps to some of these places.
Absolutely. I can't wait to expose her to different countries and cultures. And I mean, just what a blessing to have those experiences.
Yeah.
And
What were you going to
Laura,
say?
I was going to say, and I love you tee that up because as you were talking, Julie, about your schedule and all the different people you're interacting with in your travel, um, your own sleep, your own self-care, where does Julie, the parent, the human being show up, and how do you think about yourself in all of this?
It's one of the things I think I mentioned or Lori mentioned in my bio. I'm very passionate about mentoring and giving back. I really believe firmly that I had the fortune of being in this position because of people who took a chance on me and taught me and mentored me, and so I really try to pay that forward. And one of the things I always say is, one thing that I think helps me get ahead is like I've always just worked really hard. I think most people, if not all people at Lansing would say like, you'll be hard pressed to find somebody who works harder than me. Like I'm so dedicated and so committed to the business, and I've always been that way. So for me, I have become very good at multitasking. So like today, when I go pick up my daughter, I'm gonna walk to pick her up. I'm gonna walk really fast because I don't have a lot of time, but I'm gonna get that walk in, and then I'll be able to walk back with her, and she can scooter, and it gives a good balance of some health and wellness, spending time with her. And I think I'm always just trying to multitask to get ahead and keep things moving and not get behind. But it's
Hear
so
you.
hard. I mean,
Yes.
it's not pretty, right? And like if I
Yes.
get if I get 7 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep, like it's a good night. So but I do my best, right?
Hmm. Yeah, we've had many periods of time when Jason and I have said, "Oh, we miss our pillow so
I
much."
know.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's those chapters though, right? Like what's
Seasons.
the
Yep.
what's the trade-off? But
Exactly.
Yes.
this too shall
Awesome.
pass.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, I had one question for you because I know some of our listeners are also on a fertility journey. I'm just wondering if you have any advice for them as they're going through that experience.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think just give yourself grace. Like, I wish I had given myself more grace in that journey, and then, the feeding journey that came after that. I think it's so easy to be hard on yourself, right? And to compare yourself to influencers or friends or things that we're seeing. I mean, we're just so bombarded with, other people's experiences via social media. And so I think it's so easy to compare. Like, I should be able to breastfeed. Like, look at all these mom influencers who are breastfeeding. And I think, you have these moments where it's like, I mean, I remember sitting on the edge of my bed trying to breastfeed my daughter, and like I could not feed her. And it's just like, oh, I've completely failed. And I had to remind myself, like, it's just a miracle that I even have her. Like, she is a miracle of this world. Like, the journey I went on and what I fought to have her, it's like, who cares how she's fed, right? Like, as long as she's fed, it doesn't matter because she's here. And I think the fact that I even had to tell myself that is ridiculous. And I think I'm here to remind moms that you don't, you sh- it's this is all a miracle, right? Like, we're lucky to have what we have, and nobody should be hard on themselves if their journey doesn't look like the influencer or their friend or their mom or their mother-in-law, whatever feedback you're
Hmm.
getting, right? Like, you just need to you're doing the best you can, and your journey with your baby might look different than someone else's, but that's okay.
Really
So
reassuring
kind.
words.
It
Yeah.
is so kind. And at those moments it's important to be kind to oneself. And
Yeah,
I'm
we
glad you're
forget.
sharing that. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
glad you're sharing that.
Thank you.
Um, at the risk of having this final question sound a little redundant, we'll now speak to all parents rather than just those going through a fertility journey. With 2020 hindsight, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself back to the Julie as she became a working parent?
Yeah, I think, obviously I've worked very hard in my career and education and just always trying to get ahead and feeling like there's this perfection or this like doing things right. I think you have to let go a little bit, and there's no one right way to do all this. So I feel like, it might be a little bit redundant too, but you don't have to be perfect. There's no perfect path. It's different for everyone. And don't ever feel like you have to do things the right way. What's right for someone else looks different for you, and it's you and your baby, right? What might be
Mhm.
right for you isn't right for your baby. You guys are in this journey together, and I think that's what it's really about. You could have the perfect birth plan, the perfect feeding plan, and that doesn't work for baby, right? So we have to adapt, and that's hard for some people like me who, are very used to, I can fix this problem. I can make this, I can find a solution. But, the baby's, doesn't always work out that way. So be flexible and own your own journey.
Love that. There's
Love it.
so much letting go of
Oh,
expectations in parenthood.
yep.
All day, every day.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent.
It's part of that humility and patience journey, right?
Yep.
So like
Yes. Yes.
take the
Awesome.
wheel.
Excellent. Any final words you want to share before we depart, Julie?
Oh, no, I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you for all these amazing questions. It really, like, it takes me back in terms of, what this journey looked like for me and why I do what I do and why I'm so passionate about being here at Lansinoh. And I speak for the whole team, moms and dads and non-parents, like everybody at Lansinoh is just so passionate about our broader mission of supporting parents. So I'm blessed to have this opportunity and be able to hopefully make things a small amount better for parents out there today.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing your
Thank you.
time and wisdom with us. Good luck with the transition as you make it
Thank
into,
you.
fully this new role, and also to ultimately the transition to school-age child, right? Which is a whole
Thank
nother
you.
season of life and a very exciting one. So thank you, Julie. Grateful to you.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
Julie.
Lori. Thank you,
Take care.
Jason.
Bye-bye.
Bye.